Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode. Today...
Hello.
Yes, what are we doing today? You know ask?
I don't know, Sam. What are we doing today?
It's a fine question. Well, you may remember from not last episode, but the episode before, we murdered quite a few ogres.
I fondly recall slaughtering ogres, yes.
Yep. Well, today we're going to continue with our mission of genocide and actually wipe out all the ogres.
Because we are horrible people.
Well, we called that episode Ogre Genocide, and this one will be the completion of said genocide. So...
What's that strange smell?
Yeah, our cleric just asked what that strange smell was, and I'm not quite sure. Dragon Hunter.
The answer is, we have a troll with us, dude. You can't just ask those questions, alright, man?
Yeah, it's just
Jeez,
not okay.
Have some tact. And, for the audience, we swear, this is the first time we've done this.
Yes, it is most certainly the first time we've done this quest. We did
not fuck up and have to redo this or anything.
No, not at all.
That would make us very silly and very incompetent.
But yeah, as far as in-game goes, this is we're going to follow through with this thing of we're forming alliances, blah blah blah. We have an option to form an alliance with the Dragon Hunters or the Dragons of Garrett Ward, where we are.
Yep.
And basically the sensible thing to do is go with the Dragon Hunters because they control kind of the civilized bit of the area where all those skill trainers are, and if you don't, then they will attack you on sight, which becomes incredibly impractical. Whereas having the dragons as enemies works quite nicely because they inside all the dragon, there's like 4 or 5 dragon caves in the game. Inside all of them, there's like an area you can go where you can fight all the dragons and kill them all, and then inside there's actually loot, like just lying on the floor, like the dragon horde, and that always has like unique artifacts, which are like the strongest items in the game, are always found there. A lot of them.
That's fair.
So it's worth finding.
I like that Dragon Hunters are the more sensible choice because, to be honest, Dragon Hunters sound like the more sensible choice, but you'd rather form an alliance with the dragons because that just sounds cool as hell. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so he's given us a quest to go collect an egg, a dragon egg from Zog the Jackal, who is in fact an ogre because, you know.
It's called Zog.
So yeah, it's a dragon's egg, and it's actually the leader of the dragon's egg. But yeah, he doesn't mention that. But yeah, so we're gonna go to Zog's fortress and ravage roaming and slaughter all the ogres.
You know, because we're well-adjusted and normal people. I also kind of like how our dragon is like, he's just with us and we've just walked into the Dragon Hunter's place and he's just like, yo guys, what's up? They're all fine with him.
Yeah. Well, they have pet dragons. Well, they have trained dragons there, so...
Okay.
We've kind of established that they don't kill all dragons. It's just because there is someone you can talk to about, like, some guy in a house somewhere you can talk to about trained dragons, and you basically discuss how you can, if you raise them from, like, an egg, you can train them to be, like, loyal to humans or whatever, and, like, yeah, useful.
Yeah, that's logical and makes sense and seems good and all that, and I'm annoyed that it's so logical and makes sense.
Fair.
I like it when this game does weird, janky stuff, because then I get to make fun of it and feel better about myself.
That's not a very high form of wit, though.
Nope, but it's a form of wit, and that's all I need.
It's a form of wit all the same, so we're okay with it.
I don't need to have high standards.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, that's an
That's a wyvern.
With the stream delay, I have no idea.
You'll see.
Oh, I'm excited now.
Yeah, that's a wyvern. We don't want to fight them.
No, we probably don't.
They're kind of strong. They're not dragons, but they're not far off.
Oh, it's like wyverns as in like young kind of dragons, right?
No, they're just called wyverns and they're not actually dragons, they're just flying things that look a lot like dragons.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Other generic lizard things.
Not wrong, not wrong. I always get confused whenever games are like, yeah, there are like worms and dragons, and that's worm as in W-R-Y.
I've always read that as wine.
That makes more sense, but I'm stuck reading it as worm now, so... Yeah, wine might be right, I really don't know. And seeing as it's
I think they mention it in The Hobbit, actually. Like, I'm pretty sure that they describe Smaug, as a... I'm pretty sure he gets described as a wine at some point, or a fire wine or something, or fire worm, but yeah.
He might well do, actually, I might have missed that. Yeah. Although, you know, it's a made-up word, so we can say it.
Exactly.
So I will from now on be pronouncing that we are me. I'm not actually going to do that, that'll take far too long.
Yeah, some sort of ways to make it more than one syllable.
Yeah, probably.
Right,
Probably.
onwards to murder all the ogres.
But no, my original point was I don't really like it when games are like, you know, yeah, there are wee armies, you know, dragonlings, young dragons, great dragons, all these different types of dragons, and I'm just like, you've used so many fantasy things that I no longer know what I'm fighting. Like in Dragon Age, there is only actually one actual dragon fight that is actually a dragon, but you encounter mobs that are called like dragon, and they're just like, yeah, this is just like a elite mob. It's not that difficult.
All right, I'm gonna stop you there so I can discuss this little thought. So this is Ogre Jackal's fortress, barbarian fortress.
Well for himself.
Yep, and the description says specifically that his preference for building on high ground has provided an unexpected boon in the form of protection from the raging floodwaters. Although, to be honest, that image doesn't really look like raging floodwaters so much as just kind of...
Oh no, they are furious.
But yeah, so let's go murder some ogres.
Okay, that's cool. I like how it's, you know, yeah, he'd like to build his fortress up high, and now he's safe from the flood, so he's been unaffected. That's cool.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, for all the flaws in this game, like, you know, the fucking awful sprites and everything about how it looks,
Yeah.
and the ridiculous...
And 80% of the things I've said so far throughout this Let's Play.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like, the story is pretty on point.
Yeah, the story kind of works, because, like, this cataclysm is affecting absolutely everybody, and it is quite nice to see that. I mean, obviously you've still got the odd quest, like, the guy who's still collecting cheese after his, you know, after the country he's been in has just been ravaged by a cataclysm. Like,
Yeah, well,
like,
you know...
gotta get my cheese
lovers do
safari
have
on.
strange priorities.
They do, the cheese smiths, yes.
Cheesemakers, cheesemiths.
Yeah, we had this discussion last episode, and I think I've settled on cheesesmith. It's better than cheese brewer, it's better than cheesemaker, a cheesesmith.
I like it.
Yeah. Forge it with a great hammer and anvil.
Well, I just like that you forge cheese.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Also, I'm kind of impressed, because the inside, it's a really simple thing to be impressed by, but like the inside of this fortress actually looks like it would fit in the outside.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a really simple thing to be impressed by, but maybe my standards are just getting lowered and lowered.
Yeah, it doesn't really work on some of those temples we saw last episode.
Yeah, the cheese temples made very little sense. Well, you know.
But yeah, I'm thinking in possibly, depending on how much we level up after this, we might be in a position soon to get another dragon.
Yeah, alright.
I'll have to look into it.
I'm curious, how far away from the end game are we?
Well, put it this way, like, if you separated the game into like acts,
Yeah.
then we're in Act 2 of 4.
Okay. Got you.
And once we complete the alliance, then like that's the end of Act 2.
Okay, so that
So not like it's I mean
Okay.
Act 1 is probably one of the longer ones because you have to get off the starting place and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not super far away.
Cool. I must admit,
Although Act 4 is by far the longest. As far
really?
not as far as story, but as far as just trying to do it, because everything takes longer. Because you're getting high level mobs that take longer to kill and kind of dungeons take longer and everything.
Okay.
So Act 4 is going to be the bit. Act 4 is going to be the one that drags.
I will look forward to that. I must admit that I'm sure I made the comment before, but going around and getting alliances and all that kind of stuff, that's pretty much exactly the main thing you're doing throughout the entirety of Dragon Age Origins.
Yeah, you have said that before. But,
Okay, good. I'm glad I have said that before. Otherwise I'd feel a bit silly for not mentioning it. Is that Zog?
that is, this guy is.
Yes.
And he's dead. Oh, our cleric is nearly dead. Now, where is that egg?
Do you think ogres lay eggs?
Do I think ogres lay eggs?
I haven't seen any female ogres, so I'm just saying. And I know Shrek has taught us they have tiny, adorable ogre babies. But I mean, you know.
Oh crap, I forgot to open this. There it is. There's a button somewhere.
That's the thing, whenever you have like a species that's like monogender in any kind of game, I'm always curious as to like how they actually justify that. I mean, okay, I'm gonna go off on a tangent here about Mass Effect.
Ooh!
Ooh.
That's pretty.
Alright, my tangent has been suspended by pretty armor.
It's a shield, but yeah.
Okay, I'm on a delay, so I saw pretty armor when you went ooh, so you know.
Yeah, no.
Okay, no, yeah, that is. Yeah, okay.
That is an eldritch shield.
An eldritch shield. Wearing it will cause the wielder to go insane! Yes.
Not entirely, but it's pretty badass. There's only 12 of them in existence. And, well, okay, according to the description, there's only 12 of them in existence. I have before in a game got more than 12.
There are only 12 of these in existence. How many do you have? 15.
I have no idea.
I only got to 13, but I to be honest, I did it almost.
Once you get to 13, your point is made. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
See, that's why you double check chests, because that reappeared on the second opening. And that's one of those weird, like, technically not legendary weapon items, but quasi-legendary.
Might as well.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's definitely not loads of them around.
Okay. But no, so I'm gonna begin my little tangent on Mass
sorry,
Effect.
go on.
If you've got any things to say them now.
Nah.
Okay. Like, Mass Effect is really interesting when it comes to, like, species that you only see one gender of, because almost all, except for humans, almost all of the species you only really see one gender of. And, like, they all have their own explanation. Like, the Solarians, which are, like, these weird espionage lizard people.
I have no idea what that
They have really, really short lifespans, and only, like, one out of, like, every 15 births is actually female. So, like, for them, females are super rare, so almost all of them are on the Solarian homeworld, and they're, like, diplomats and really high positions in government because there are so few of them. So that's one explanation. Female Turians, I don't think they ever get an explanation, and you do eventually see one, but you only see one, and nobody thinks it's, like, that special that there's a female Turian. And I'm like,
I always
we
got the
played
impression with the
three
Turians,
games.
it's kind
I
of
have
because...
no idea.
I'll take that just in case. I always got the impression with them it was more because they're like... Turians are kind of famous for their military kind of acumen, whatever. And like it's just like the men going to the military, and that's kind of the only one. You don't really go to their homeworld or anything, as far as I can remember.
You go to the moon of their homeworld in the third game. But, like, that's the thing. You'd think, okay, maybe they've got a very male, military-dominated culture. But, like, if you, through conversations with the other Turian characters, like, they casually mention female Turians being in the military as well. So I'm like, I'm sure I've missed the point where they say there's not that many of them or something like that. But just, it feels a bit jarring because there's only one female Turian. She's only in the third game, and she's optional because she's a piece of DLC. And it's kind of like...
Fucking Mass Effect DLC, don't get me started.
Oh, it's so bad. But, anyway, to, like, stay on point...
It's not all bad, it's just
not
there's so
like-
much fucking of it.
There's so much of it, and it's all kind of, like, okay DLC. But, I don't know, because you've got, like, the Krogan, and you do see female Krogans. They're wearing, like, a shawl thing, so you never actually see what they actually look like. Which I think was a way for them to save on making a model, personally. I'm, you know, suspicious about that. But,
Basically, you're a cynical motherfucker.
pretty much, yeah. But they kind of do it in the whole, they've got their problem with their fertility, so all of the females are, you know, staying and trying to get pregnant because they really, really need the population increase. So that's one way of doing it, and, you know, that makes some sense.
Although, in the third game, spoilers, but... Like in the
Yes, spoilers for this, like, 5-year-old game.
In the third game, you have an option to cure the denophage, which would then relieve that requirement entirely.
Yeah, you do, so... Yeah, hopefully in the next Mass Effect game, which they're doing, which is called Andromeda, I think, there'll be female Krogans. Hopefully, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Also,
yeah.
I took massive issue with the whole, the way that, like, because I hadn't played the first game, I wasn't able to get Rex in the third game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so
you have to get the bad end basically on that planet.
you're penalising me for not playing one of your old games, but I brought your fucking new one, so, like, yeah.
There is a piece of DLC available now which lets you do this interactive comic at the start of the game and choose what the previous decisions were in the first game. And I own it. I have played through it. And
is it
the first thing? No, it's not. I had leftover.
Fuck you, BioWare.
Yeah, it was exactly the kind of thing that I was like, oh great, this really should have been in the game from the start.
Yeah. Alright,
Is this the cutscene?
Yes, they're... Okay, let me qualify this. And there's meant to be a cutscene now. Whether there is or not is a matter of... I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, it's a roll of fucking dice. Because I've seen it before multiple times, but last time we did this when we forgot to record because we're that professional, it didn't come up. So we'll see.
Fingers
This
crossed.
quest.
And then I can talk about the Asari.
Yep, no cutscene. Yeah, so that doesn't happen anymore apparently. Don't know why.
Well, on the topic of the Asari, they're stupid as hell and they make no sense, and what the hell are you doing, BioWare? Just admit you wanted a weird species of blue lesbians. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, that's all I have to say about the Asari, because everybody talks about them, and if you want to see interesting dialogue about them, go and find it. There's loads of it. But yeah, I feel like Mass Effect quite nicely shows all the different kind of explanations you can try and do in-game for why you only see one species. Like, there's the pretty good explanation of the Solarian of being like, yeah, only 1 in 15 eggs is born female, or something like that. So they all hold very high positions, and because they have very short lifespans, the females basically have to go and lay lots of eggs because, you know. And then you've got the stupid-ass explanations of almost every other species. Except for maybe the crows, but yeah. So yeah, if you want to be lazy and only make one model, at least, like, transfer that effort from the modelling department and put it in the writing department to come up with an explanation if you're gonna make a serious game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put it out there and say that this game has better writing than Mass Effect 3.
I would not even contest that a little bit. Because Mass Effect 3 is just...
I'd forgotten about that. Okay, we have a journal scrap. I will discuss that shortly. First,
Oh.
Eldritch Shield. There are only 12 of these shields in known existence. Their bodies are made of an alloy that appears to seethe with the colour of coal fire. Their rims are made from another unknown metal that is soft enough to catch blades but doesn't gorge or scratch. Is that better than his current shield? It is better than the current shield. Although his current shield does grant him immune to fear, stone, paralysis and sleep. But it's also minus 15 personality and luck. Yeah, have the Eldritch Shield. We'll keep it on though just in case.
I like the idea that they're made with a metal that is like soft enough to catch blades or whatever it is. So I'm just imagining that the rim is made of like cotton or something like that.
Well no, like a soft bit of iron or something. It's just enough to like, if the blade like went in it, it would go into it a little bit and kind of catch it.
Yeah, no, I understand it. It's just in my head whenever they talk about like the edge being soft or something like that, I am almost entirely visualising just cotton.
Alright, now let's discuss this journal scrap.
Yes.
So we've probably seen some of these before, but I haven't picked them up because there's a lot of them and they're not actually a quest, but we're going to discuss them now because, yeah. So, yeah, this is a journal scrap. And it's a journal of Caitlin Venetius.
Caitlyn Jenner's journal, got it?
Exactly that. So yeah, basically it's a journal of her travelling, and she travels around pretty much the whole map. And if you go to the right dungeon in each area of the map, you can find her journal. Mm-hmm. And she's a vampire when she's left Shadowspire, and she's following a vampire called Corbu, who was like the leader of the vampires. One of the first vampires, and he's a pretty big deal. And there is actually a quest to go find his remains and shit, which we haven't picked up, because we haven't picked up any quests in Shadowspire, because they're some of the longer side quests.
Yay.
And we weren't necessarily going to do all the side quests when we started out, so we'll see how we feel. But yeah, so that's... and it's just a nice touch in that you get these little journal scraps, and you can find them all over the place. And if you get them all, you can read them in order, and they actually tell a story of her following the footsteps of this ancient vampire. And slowly she builds up a guilt over the need to feed. And eventually comes to think of herself as an abomination, and then finds Corbu's resting place and then dies, because she refuses to feed.
That's pretty cool. I think I've mentioned it to you before, but I really like breadcrumb style quests.
Yeah.
Where all you're given really is just a couple of clues, and you're just following somebody else's path. And I quite like that. I find that quite fun. And that's cool that they've managed to, you know, have a character grow and develop entirely through notes left.
Mm.
I mean, a lot of games try and do that with like audio logs. I'm never comfortable with that because I can't think of anybody who'd be like talking into an audio log like, "Ah, man, you know, today I felt really sad, but you know, I think I'm just gonna go kill my wife, and that'll cheer me up," or something like that. Like, that's the kind of janky ass shit you sometimes find in those audio logs, and you're like, really, just do you need to write this down? Are you planning on listening to this again?
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah.
So, I think next episode we're gonna murder some dragon slayers.
Wait, murder some dragon slayers? Didn't we just ally up with them?
We did.
Why are we gonna murder them?
Okay, I'm gonna briefly discuss this. Essentially, like, you see these guys over here? These are some dragon hunter pets who are like trained dragons, and all these guys standing around in this field. Like, everyone that's standing in the field and beyond, there's quite a few of them. We have a quest to kill all the dragon hunters in Garrett Gorge, but actually, to complete the quest, you just have to kill all of these mobs.
Okay.
So, we have to go, yeah, like, we can kill all these mobs. And, excuse me. Yeah, we kill all of them, and not, like, the guys in the town don't give a crap. They don't have anything against us after it. And we can play a quest, and it's quite a lot of experience. So, yeah, we will do that.
So,
just to assure you that although the writing in
really
this game is
shitty
good,
ally.
it's not that good.
okay, anyway, I need to go, so I think that we should wrap up this episode now.
We should. We have officially wiped out all the ogres in existence. We are responsible for the death of a race.
Hooray! And
On
thank you
that
for
note.
watching.
Goodbye.
Yeah, bye.